Welcome back to Horror Funk Town, where we explore the most chilling and tragic tales from the world of amusement parks. Today, we dive into the heartbreaking and horrific story of the Tour Eiffel Drop Tower disaster and the tragic death of Gabriela Yukari Nichimura. Strap in, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride, and please don't fall. On the 24th of February 2012, 14-year-old Gabriela Nichimura and her family arrived at the Brazilian theme park, Hopi Hari. They were on holiday from Japan and were eager to visit one of Brazil's most famous amusement parks. Unfortunately, Gabriela would never return to Japan. Just after 10 o'clock, she boarded the now infamous ride known as La Tour Eiffel, where she was thrown from the ride to her death. The investigation into the incident revealed a massive error that led to the girl's tragic fate. But what exactly happened to her? Let's get into it. This is the La Tour Eiffel Drop Tower disaster, the death of Gabriela Nichimura. Hopi Hari, situated in Sao Paulo, Brazil, stands as one of the largest and most vibrant amusement parks in Latin America. The park opened its doors in 1999 with the name Play Center Great Adventure and was built and designed by International Theme Park Services Incorporated. It was envisioned as a grand entertainment destination, offering a plethora of attractions and themed areas for visitors of all ages. During the same year, GP Investments took over the park, making several changes, including the name change to Hopi Hari. Over the years, it has evolved into a sprawling complex covering approximately 760,000 square meters, meticulously divided into themed sections. Each of these themed sections offers an array of rides, shows, and dining options. Strategically positioned near Sao Paulo and Campinas, Hopi Hari is a key player in the state's economy and Brazilian tourism scene. The area in which it is situated draws over 5 million Brazilian tourists annually, even more than Christ the Redeemer. The park itself brings in 2 million people a year. Despite its economic significance, Hopi Hari has faced various challenges, such as bad management and unfortunate incidents. However, none have been more significant than the horrific incident that would occur on the 24th of February 2012 on the ride known as La Tour Eiffel. La Tour Eiffel, or the Eiffel Tower in English, opened as one of the flagship attractions at Hopi Hari in 1999. The ride mimicked the structure of the iconic Eiffel Tower in Paris and was manufactured by Intamin. Riders would be seated in rows of 4 and would be secured by an over-the-shoulder restraint connected to a seatbelt. The Eiffel Tower is known as a drop ride, which involves lifting riders to a significant height and then releasing them in a controlled freefall. The ride drops passengers from 228 feet or 69.5 meters high, equivalent to a 23-story building. The ride falls at a speed of 94 kilometers per h, or 58 miles per hour, and was one of the park's most popular attractions. In February of 2012, 14-year-old student Gabriela Nichimura was visiting the park with her family while on holiday from Japan. Gabriela was a happy-go-lucky child who dreamed of becoming a journalist later in life. Her room was decorated with photographs of friends, her artwork, and ornaments that she found pretty. Her mother described her as precious. That day, Gabriela, her parents, and her cousin boarded the Eiffel Tower, not knowing their lives were about to change forever. One can imagine their enthusiasm. Hey, we're about to have a drop-dead good time. Sadly, it turned out to be literal. It was approximately 10:10 in the morning when Gabriela and her family boarded the Eiffel Tower. According to her parents, she and her cousin ran ahead to sit down, so they were unable to see how she locked her restraint. Her mother said, "My daughter was a 14-year-old girl in a park. She was totally happy. So, when the gates opened for us, she and my niece ran out. When I arrived with my husband, we took the 2 chairs that were left, and we also already pulled the lock. So actually I can't say, because she arrived and sat down before I arrived. While the parents were seated, they fully expected someone to check their restraints before the ride set off. But this wasn't done. They said, "We have lived in Japan for 19 years. I have been to many parks there. Every time we sit on a ride, an employee comes and checks each ride. He does the inspection immediately with each one. But this was not done with us here in Brazil. And I asked several people, is this procedure not done in Brazil or not done in Hopi Hari? But no one answered me. Apparently safety checks were considered optional, like wearing sunscreen in the Sahara. The ride then set off and began its climb to the top. Once at the top, as per usual, the ride would hold for 2 seconds before dropping. During the drop, when the ride was 20 meters in the air, Gabriela's seat restraint flung open and she was sent crashing to the floor. 3 witnesses said that once the ride applied its brakes nearer towards the bottom, the lock simply opened and the girl fell out. She was now unconscious on the ground and her parents were frantic. Emergency services were called immediately and arrived on the scene within minutes. The girl was taken to Sacramento Hospital in Jundiai, but there was nothing the doctors could do, and sadly, Gabriela passed away shortly after falling from the ride, from a severe blow to the head. It was a tragic case of what goes up must come down, but preferably not like this. The park was quickly shut down for the remaining day, and an investigation into the incident was launched. After the incident, the park's lawyer admitted to the press that there may have been a massive error in their operation. The park would remain closed until the 25th of March 2012, but the Eiffel Tower would remain shut while the investigations were ongoing. But it wasn't long until the investigators found their answers. According to court documents, the chair that Gabriela was in had been inactive for 10 years and was supposed to be locked off from the public. The chair was unused due to the location of the seat being too close to the metal frame of the tower. Due to the seat being unused for so long, it also had no seatbelt. Initially, investigators were inspecting the wrong chair, but a photo released by the family proved that the chair Gabriela was sitting in was the unused one. A thrilling game of guess the seat with deadly consequences. The park's lawyer said that although employees are trained to operate and maintain the rides, a massive error was committed and anyone who is responsible would be held accountable. A police investigator said, "The chair that had been inoperative for years, the park does not deny it. What the park wanted to deny at first was that someone had sat on it." The photo shows Gabriela sitting and climbing onto the inoperative chair. After further investigation into the seat, they found that when the ride drops, the unused chair's lock lifts. The prosecutor of the case said, "We discovered numerous errors that ended up in a succession of errors, causing Gabriela's death. From the moment the park recognizes that the chair is inoperative, it knows that the chair has mechanical problems. So it's not that there was a mechanical failure. The failure of the chair was already predictable. What happened was a human error in not stopping her from getting into that chair." The investigator was horrified at what he had found and described the ride as a fatal weapon. Ana Beatriz, the consumer law prosecutor, blamed the park, saying, "There is a very serious failure on the part of the park in that it lacked information. If the chair was banned, it was the park's duty to put up tape, any kind of warning to both operators and users, so that no one was able to sit down." It also came out that 2 Hopi Hari employees revealed that moments before the accident, they observed a flaw in the ride, where a visitor could open the closed seat. Despite reporting the issue to management, they were instructed to continue operating the ride. On May 9th, 2012, 12 individuals from the park, including the then President Armando Filo, were indicted by the Public Prosecution Service for the accident. Then in 2017, 3 employees were convicted of manslaughter. They were then fined and sentenced to community service. Community service seems a bit light for turning a theme park ride into a medieval catapult. In the aftermath, the family of Gabriela sued the park and agreed to an undisclosed settlement, but they were obviously traumatized by the whole ordeal. Her mother stated that after the incident, the family received therapy and she became very overprotective of Gabriela's 8-year-old sister. She said, "I'm actually a bit boring. I rarely let her go somewhere without me or my husband." Gabriela's bedroom remained untouched, and she found it difficult to change. She claimed that the park should be closed by saying, "My wish would be to close the park permanently, but I'm not sure that will happen. I don't just speak for my daughter, I speak for the population because today it was my daughter, but tomorrow it could be anyone." Despite her wishes, the park did reopen, but according to an article in 2019, the Eiffel Tower remained closed despite multiple attempts to bring it back. There was, however, a further article that said they planned on reopening the ride in 2022, but I couldn't actually find if they did. Hopi Hari released a statement saying that they deeply regretted what happened, but I can't quite fathom why this ride would operate with one seat completely broken. And with the operators knowing this, why on earth wouldn't they check each seat vigorously before the ride set off? If they had done this basic principle, Gabriela would still be here today. I hope her family is doing well. Thank you for tuning in to another grim tale from Horror Funk Town. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.